Facebook Live, and welcome to another episode of Our Point of View Talk Show. Today we're going to be talking to couples. Well, actually, Dr. Jerry and Winter Bobo, they're going to be talking to the couples. I'm not a couple, I'm a single, so I'm not going to be on the show. But they're going to have a great time. So I want you to sit back and relax. I'm going to introduce to you now Dr. Jerry and Winter Bobo.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, or good morning or afternoon, depending on what time zone you are watching this video, this show in. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Jerry M. Bobo. The M does stand for money, even though my mama said Maurice, but I'm gonna stick with the money part. And I am here with my wife, my better half, Winter Bobo, and we both make up the dynamic duo of Doc and Winter. And so what I'm doing really quickly is I'm just simply sharing Our Point of View talk show on my Facebook feed. So you guys can do that as well. So your family and friends can see you and celebrate you and have some fun with you on tonight.
Right.
I want everybody to sit back and relax and let's have a good time. And just to make sure we're good, is everybody mics check good? Mics, speakers, video is good, thumbs up, nod, yes, okay. Perfect. And one more share for me. And while I'm doing that, let's start out with the smoots. So what I want you guys to do is to introduce yourself to America. Man, you guys are being watched on YouTube, Facebook, all kinds of platforms. Introduce yourselves and then tell us how you met and what made you jump the broom, tie the knot, do the big M.
Unmute.
Thank you.
Perfect, gotcha.
I'm Karen. This is my husband, Jamie. We've been married for 6 years, and he'll probably tell you a different story about how we met. But we've been dating for 6 years as well. So I accumulate all the time together as one. So what I do want to say is Jamie and I are best friends. We went to school together. We started off at high school. He's a few years older than me, so he left, he graduated and went on to college. I was still in high school, finding my way. We kept in touch, and through then, we probably disappeared for maybe 30 years or so.
Wow, okay.
And then we kind of met up again. So he's going to fill you in on the rest.
Okay.
No, he was doing all right. No, I still say we've been together since 1978, but she has her own story. We weren't together, but we, in my view, we were still together.
Yeah. So yeah, we did meet up. One of the things that our school does is we have mixers, and so we happened to meet up at a mixer. He had heard that I was going to be there from a friend. He was at the location, very antsy. Of course, I'm a late bird. You'll hear that through. I'm a little bit of a late bird. So I did finally show up where I understand he was trying to leave. He's like, she's not coming, I'm leaving, so on and so forth. But from there, we had our first date in October. And we dated, like I said, for 6 years. And then we finally got married in June of 2015. And that's with me commuting. Actually, I was down in Atlanta for work, North Carolina. I travel for my job. And so we were doing long distance relationship for a number of years.
Wow.
And so it worked. And like I said, we, communicate and we made it work.
That is strong. I think that deserves a raise the roof of clap. That's a whole nother show on that long distance one. So we definitely want to talk about the dynamics of that when the time comes. So again, congratulations to you both. Man, let's jump up to the beautiful couple, Anya and PJ Robinson. Same thing. How did you guys meet? What happened, and what made you guys go ahead and tie that knot, jump that broom, do the big M?
Whew.
You want it? Or
Yeah,
you want me to
sure.
tell it? All right, go ahead.
So yeah, my name is Anya, and this is PJ, and we met in college. I hosted this chill and chat group, which a bunch of Black and Brown students would come together and talk. And he came to one of the discussions, and that's how we initially met. That's funny, we met in October as well. And started officially dating and got married last year, October. So we've been together for 5+ years, or excuse me, 4+ years.
Time mixes
The
together.
time mixes together because I feel like I've known him my whole life now.
Okay.
But yeah, we got married last year during the whole pandemic. We had like a Zoom style wedding, and all of our family and friends watched.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, we were kind of stuck for a moment because obviously we knew we couldn't really do a big event,
A big thing.
but we didn't want to keep pushing it back as well too, because we already pushed it back once, and we're like, well, we kind of just want to get married.
Right.
That was kind of the thing for us. Like she didn't really want a big thing. I didn't really mind doing big or small.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, if we just want to do it, why don't we just do it?
Yeah.
So we rented out an Airbnb. We got everything set up with a chapel, and yeah, it was really
good.
crazy, but it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
We got to raise the roof on that. That is amazing. You
Mhm.
guys have some amazing stories. We got a long distance relationship that dates back to the 70s. So they say they don't look like they're born into the 70s.
Right. That is beautiful.
And then we got a Zoom wedding, y'all. I mean, isn't that just a sign of the times, like how amazing things are changing and technology that is available to aid us in love and marriage. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, I see another couple just joined us. I see one half of the couple. If you could introduce yourself, sir, and your wife, and tell us how long you guys have been together, how you met, and what was the issue or surrounding circumstance that made you say, I do, I'm jumping the broom, tying the knot, we're doing the big M. Just unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
There
Hello.
we go.
Yeah, how's everybody?
We are
We're
amazing. How are you
wonderful.
guys?
Great. My name is Ron Peters, and this is my wife, Angel Peters, better known as Pastor Angel.
Okay.
And we've been married 31 years.
Wow.
We'll
Come
celebrate
on, y'all. We got to
the first anniversary last week.
Awesome. Happy
Yes.
anniversary.
You're gonna say something.
Thank you. I'm just Angel.
I'm just Angel. Okay. Married 3 decades. And
Yes.
absolutely, totally amazing. How did you guys meet, and what made you say, I do? I'm jumping the broom, I'm tying the knot, we're gonna do the big M.
Well, I'll answer the first part. We actually met. I used to be a pharmaceutical rep before I retired.
Okay.
So I actually met her during my workday in one of the offices that I covered as a sales professional.
Okay.
And he was in the copy room. And I was the only person who looked like me in my
Okay.
whole office. And he was on, you get what I'm saying? And he was in the copy room waiting for the doctor.
Okay.
And I walked past and who is that? So I took a blank piece of paper to go to the copy room to make a copy. And that was all I needed to do. I just said hi, and then he took over.
Wow. She took a blank piece of paper. She was gonna get in that copy room one way
She
or
was
another, Jacko.
Determined to make that copy.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right
He copied that blank sheet of paper and copied it to a whole wedding.
Yes.
A whole
31 years
decade.
worth of copies.
I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
that's
I
a lot
love
of
it. Totally
copies.
amazing. So, like I said earlier, guys, I'm Dr. Jerry Bobo. My better half, Winter Bobo. And guys, we're just gonna have a little fun on tonight. This is on several different platforms, and so we're gonna end up helping a lot of people, blessing a lot of people, just through you guys' hope, strength, and experience. So let's just jump right into it. My first question of tonight, actually my second. Tell us a quirky pet peeve that you have with or about your significant other. A quirky pet peeve, something they do, they say, they wear, they act like, maybe they got a funny voice, maybe they wearing socks, whatever the case may be. But a quirky pet peeve you have with your mate. Let's start with Anya and PJ.
Okay.
We were waiting for this. we watched the video from last time. We were talking about like, what's our pet peeve?
Right.
Oh no. We hoped we got this question.
Okay. So I would say for me, my pet peeve is his tendency to misplace things. So like, it's actually like his wallet and his keys. Like there's a place for it right there on top of the fridge, and he will forget to put it on top of the fridge and go about his day and then try to figure out where it is. For instance, we went on vacation with our friends and did like a little weekend to the Poconos. And the last day of the Airbnb, he was over here like, where's my wallet? I gotta find my wallet. And it was hilarious because we played a game night. And one of the questions during the game night was, who would lose the lottery ticket?
Wow.
He would lose the lottery ticket.
PJ, tell me it's not so, brother. Tell me you wouldn't be the one to lose the life-changing
my
$1,000,000
hands
ticket.
are like a void. Okay? It's don't put valuable things in my hands. They just won't be there anymore.
Yeah, well, at least he's honest and transparent about that.
Right.
I love it.
Very much.
I like it.
All right, PJ
Yes.
has the void hands. All right. Okay. And what is it about Anya that little pet peeve, quirky thing?
There's just one thing. And she already knows what it is, so it's no secret. So
Yeah.
when we go driving, she doesn't have her driver's license yet. She's working on it, but not yet. We live in the city. So when I'm driving, she has a habit of telling me directions right after the GPS will tell me the same direction. And then like I'll put on like it's crazy. Her timing is impeccable. Like she'll make sure she'll tell me like right as I'm doing it. Like I'll put my left turn signal on. Oh baby, you gotta make a left right here. Oh yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I'm just gonna keep going straight for a little while. See what happens.
You're like, okay, Sherlock. Okay.
Yes.
Siri just said make a left in a half mile. I've got the left turn signal on. My wheels are facing left, and
My wheels are facing
Cassidy. No, you
I
got
know she means well, but
Yeah.
Hilarious. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's jump over to the Smoots. Jamie and Karen, give us that quirky pet peeve thing about one another. You got to unmute for me, Miss Smoot.
One of the things that is a pet peeve with this one here is he's very communicative. So he shares like every Sunday, he emails and texts people and just, wishing them happy Sunday. Okay. He's been doing that for a while. Hi, Ron and Angel. So he will come back with all the updates for the week. Oh, so-and-so wrote me and they said blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
The pet peeve is there's always a piece of the puzzle missing. So I'm like an investigator. So I asked 101 questions.
Okay.
So by the time it gets to maybe the third question, he's like, I just don't know. I don't get into people's business like that. I can't tell you. So it's basically bringing me the story, and I only get portion of the story, and then I have to take little pieces of the puzzle and I have to put it together. So, and he knows that, and it's hilarious. So sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm trying to make sure that it's not me, that I'm hearing everything I need to hear. And then all of a sudden the story dies off. And then I'm like, so what's missing? You know, so then I have to start the 101 questions, and then that ticks him off because he's just like, I don't know. You know, I don't get it.
So he's leaving out. So we all know, right, that good communication is going to consist of the who, what, when, where, how, and it's like bring you a who and a what.
Right. And I'm like, well, how? Why did that happen? You know.
And then then he breaks out and go, I don't know. Why you? I just. Gotcha. Okay. Jamie, what's your pet peeve quirk?
The first one is my wife thinks that the world revolves around her. When you're going somewhere, she is so slow. So slow.
But we were the first ones on today, right? Well, yep.
Well, a broke clock is right twice a day.
The second thing is she even has driving Miss Daisy beat.
Really?
The ride will be 10 minutes and we won't get there for an hour. Or maybe.
How's that possible?
Well, this is the thing. See, when I was learning to drive, and you might want to know this, Ariana, my father taught us on the highway. So he gave us all the quirks about the highway. Don't stay by those trucks, get past the trucks. So I'm a very good highway driver.
Okay.
But when it comes to the city, because I'm so cautious about someone else's issue, maybe they're passing through the red light or child dashing in the street. I just go very slow, even through the parking lots. I'm just very cautious about that. So him and my children, they're all the same way. They're just like, can you go a little faster? Now, mind you, I'm not at the 45 miles per hour. I am at the actual limit. And then that's it. And especially in the city.
You're like 15.
Because I don't want to be stopped by any cops. I just want to make sure that I'm safe and whoever's in the car is safe. That's all. But I'm very good on the highway. He could tell you I could go 10 hours or more.
That's true.
Yeah, but
back and forth from Atlanta.
Look, but the city driving has got my brother hanging his head, and he didn't pull his hair out. He just said we got to speed this thing on up a little bit. I got you. That's some good stuff. Thank you too. All right, we're gonna jump down to Angela and Ron. Give us that quirky pet peeve thing about one another.
Well, I guess I've been nominated to go first.
Okay.
I would probably say my the one that comes to mind most often. I'm a very organized person.
Okay.
One step after the other.
Okay.
It helps me to remember stuff in sequence. So organization would probably be the biggest one.
She's unorganized?
She's a little bit more carefree and spontaneous, let's say.
My man, good answer. Boy, he painted that thing really. Ron said, I'm gonna still have me a happy night. You're not gonna mess my night up with this webinar. I like it. Okay. All right, Angel, what is your pet peeve, quirky little thing about Ron?
Okay, so while he's very organized, everything has a place. In the kitchen, a cake, a cookie, whatever that needs to be properly sealed or wrapped up.
Okay.
I never all of our kids are grown, but when they were young, it was always him. Like, who left this open? Who didn't seal the Tupperware? Who did him? Mr. Organized. You just blew a whole bunch of money on whatever food, whatever cake it was, because you didn't take time to wrap it back up.
Okay.
For 31 years.
But
If I was going back in it.
Ron, that's a long time to be leaving stuff unwrapped. I guess at this point, you just deliberately doing it, right, Ron? I'm just that is hilarious.
In a hurry to get back to the football game.
Gotcha. That's a lot of football, Ron. That's a lot of football.
That's a lot of football.
A lot of football right there. My brother is leaving the stuff unwrapped for 31 years, and they still together. I love it. I love it. At least the relationship haven't been left unwrapped. All right.
that's right. That's what counts. I love it.
All right, guys. Who is, and this is a relative question. Obviously, it's opinionated. Who is the better communicator between the two, and why? Go ahead, Miss Ron and
Definitely me.
you're the better communicator.
Okay, so there's two parts. Communicating to Jamie on a Sunday, he's communicating to his friends, but matters of the heart, he has two sentences. I love you and you're sweet.
Okay.
So communicating, he doesn't like to be vulnerable. 31 years. But to anyone else?
Did y'all take a copious note on that? She said everywhere else. Now he's Speedy Gonzalez.
Now you know there's another side, another perspective to that, right?
Give me that one.
She's very sensitive. So you have to be careful and position words and phrases quite properly. So I'm usually very careful. I examine, think about it. So there's always that pause, the hesitation. So it takes a while for the thought to get out. And if I can get by without, woof, I didn't piss her off.
Ron,
Not upset.
So Ron, listen. So Ron, are you going by the less is more theory?
Yes.
More? Okay.
No, Doc, no. He's going by, he can't control my reactions to whatever we're talking about, but the truth needs to be said, right?
Okay.
Even earlier, you said, oh, that was a very calculated answer he gave. So I'm very blunt. I just want the truth. So if I cry, I still need to know the truth. I make a lot of faces. So if I make a face, I still need to know. We still need to talk about it.
Y'all take copious notes on this now, because this relationship,
Jeez.
and this is from, and I'll get to you just 1 second once I saw your box light up. And this couple that you're hearing from right now is 31 years in the game. 31 years. Winter Bubba, what were you gonna say?
I definitely can feel her on understanding the communication lines between the two, where she still wants the information, but I think he can't bear or deal with your responses. So that's why he shuts down or not, talk as much, because he don't want to see you crying, or he don't want you to get dramatic or, irate at the response. So he just rather not. But you still need to hear it. And that's
everybody,
true.
whether you guys agree with that or not, can everybody at least relate to it? Like, can you see, I can see that, right? Whether you do, yes, I can see that. Okay, gotcha, good stuff. Let's jump up to Anya and PJ. Who is the better communicator between the two, and why?
I would say we struggle to answer this question because we're both really great at communicating and comprehending what each other is, expressing. It's who, I guess that, like, who is going to be affected emotionally more than the other person by the communicating.
It depends on who's going through it.
Right, who's going through it at the moment.
Yeah. who's been wrong at the moment.
Yes.
Wait, did you say who's wrong at the moment?
Yes.
Hilarious. Okay.
Who's being wronged at the moment? And I won't even say like, I feel like, well, you can speak too, but
Yeah, no, I feel like you're going where I was going.
yeah.
Because like we've kind of like very early on in the relationship, we're both very passionate people,
Yeah.
and we don't like not being heard
Mhm.
on either side. So we make sure like when we talk to each other, we're both checking our tones, make sure that we're not condescending to each other. Because sometimes when you get into an argument, and it's with anybody, sometimes like you're trying to say something, you're trying to say your point, but sometimes it comes off the wrong way, or it
Mhm.
comes off like you're trying to win the argument.
Mhm.
And at least with each other, we try to fight that as much as possible.
Right.
Obviously, something slipped.
Absolutely.
Someone says something.
Which is
It
why I personally, I never like to say we argue because I feel like we truly don't argue, but we have some sad ass discussions. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if cursing is allowed, but we have some sad discussions. We have sad discussions. And sometimes during those sad discussions, you know, someone is going to be hurt. Somebody is going to not like the truth that they hear. But I think what's beautiful is that we're not afraid to tell each other the truth.
Okay.
And without that, I think it would be do. It wouldn't work.
I think, like, long story short, we just know how to check in on each other.
Yeah.
I feel like I think we're
That's
both
awesome.
emotionally aware of what's going on with the other person,
Yeah.
even if that means we gotta
Checking in.
step away.
Yeah.
You know?
Good stuff, man. I love it. I love it. All right, let's jump over to Jamie and Karen. Who's the better communicator and why?
Well, you know, we had to work on everything. And
Absolutely.
so when we first got together, and this is the thing that folks need to know, is that we married a little later in age. And first of all, I think that's probably one of the best things that's ever happened
Okay.
because of the fact our children are grown and we have the opportunity just to be partners, to
Mhm.
understand one another, to understand those little quirks that make us laugh now, and not so much that we have all that hectic lifestyle that we have to worry about family. We can focus on us.
Mm.
So when we first began, I was very independent. And I remember Jamie saying, you know, you don't have to carry the load on your own. I know you've had to do that as a mom, but you don't have to do that any longer because I'm here to anchor you. And so I had to think about that. For anyone who's, you know, marrying again, you really have to think about, you know, when you become as one, the independence needs to go.
Mm.
And so that is something that I applaud him on because he's very passionate and he does not like controversy. So
Okay.
as I begin to learn about him, I realized that controversy is not going to get us any communication. You know, we're not going to solve anything or fix anything. So I've learned to kind of figure out what the problem is. If I have a problem that I would like to communicate with him, then, you know, I just kind of bring it to it softly. And I have to pray about it because let me tell you something,
Okay.
marriage is nothing without prayer. And so if it's something that I feel like it's, you know, a major issue and it may not be about us, it may be something else going on, I need to pray about it so that wisdom comes out of my mouth versus just a bunch of, you know, nonsense. So that's how we've kind of handled it in the past. And then, and I know you'll probably talk about this later, but we have our date nights. And so we're able to take the time to just focus on each other, understand what it is that's going on through the week, what it is we might have missed, you know, just in the hustle and bustle world. And go from there. So he probably says I talk too much, as you can see.
what are your thoughts on that, sir?
As far as the communications part, I'm still learning. I get, I used to get yelled at a lot about not, leaving things out. And most of the time I just sit back and just go with it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, but he's been really good in, picking up cues. He knows when I'm stressed.
Mhm.
Sometimes stress can bring on just no nonsense type of, argument just because you're reflecting onto someone else. So when he knows that I've had some kind of crazy day, he knows how to get away. He has his own hobbies that he likes to do, and it works well for us.
Gotcha. How important does everybody think all of the couples? Are you guys able to see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think this is? You, me, us. Because a lot of times what we hear, we deal with all types of backgrounds, all types of religious denominations, up to and including atheists, right? Relationships at their core are the same. Now, we all have different coping mechanisms, coping skills. We all learn different things from our family of origins that we bring to our current relationships. And one of the things that we have found couples struggle with a lot, especially coming from the religious community, is the concept of the two are no longer two, but one. And that gets misconstrued and it causes a myriad of problems. What do you guys think when you just see this simple little diagram? You, me, us. Anya, PJ, what do you think? What comes to mind when you see that?
Perfect. Like, I feel like you have to exist as your own person outside of this thing. Because if my relationship with myself isn't well, how is my relationship with him going to be well? And I feel like a lot of times it was beat over my head, like, oh, everything has to just be about you too, but it's not. And you have to be healthy by yourself. So when I'm healthy and happy and he's healthy and happy, it comes together and it's magic. And then where it's not, there are moments where I can bear a little bit more of the weight. And maybe that triangle starts to look a little 90-degree, but there's like give and take there that I think is very important.
Yeah, I used to think like this before this relationship. I learned a lot being with her.
Mhm.
Before I gave a lot of myself to in my other relationships where I thought as the man in the situation that I had to give more and
Mhm.
that my needs didn't really come first
Mm.
or it wasn't as important. Like it's something I can handle on my own. And right now I have to take care of something else. But being with Anya is kind of shown me that like you said, there is a balance in there. Like you can acknowledge things that you want to do or things that you want to achieve for yourself while still taking care of your partner and the relationship and figuring out what can be done.
Good stuff. Angel and Ron, what do you think when you see this diagram?
For me, the very first thing I thought was about the truth. My side, your side, and then there's the truth. But the more I looked at it, I thought that you and me, it meets at the top and it meets at the side. So while I do me, you do you, we still have to meet to become us. The you and me at the top, that's one side of who we are. But at the bottom, we have to come together on multiple levels to create that us. And I think someone said earlier, well, we were married, previously married, but we blended our children together. So we raised 4 children together. And we had to carve out time for us. We made sure we had date nights, thanks to Oprah years ago. We made sure we had date nights. We made sure that we connected aside from the kids and to create us. And one thing that Ron said while we were dating, like, what is his name, Ryan? Oh, PJ. Like PJ said, I learned a lot in this relationship because when we were dating, I was pushing him away because my ex-husband told me I had 3 children, I was spoiled goods, no one would want me. And I believed it. All the good people said what he said, X'd it out. But Ron would not give up. And I said, but I never finished my degree. You have a master's degree. He said, I don't want to marry a degree. I said, but I have 3 children. He said, okay. And he's like, bring it on, whatever you have. And he said, I want to marry someone, I want to marry a person so that when the kids are gone, we still like each other, still love each other. We have fun. And I think that's where the you and me become us. I feel like we've become us.
Yeah.
We've become a
before,
Rangel.
and before we can be, we become, right?
Right.
Yes.
The relationship is not an event, right? It's not
Right.
on your mark, get set, go, bang, we win, we won, we finished, right? It's a process, and it's
journey.
a ever evolving process and journey. Absolutely. All right. Jamie, Karen, what do you think when you see this diagram?
You missed Pete.
Well, just to piggyback off of what my wife had said, when I see that, I kind of think about the journey that you take in relationships, you know, where you kind of start off as you, and you kind of discover the me, and then you hopefully evolve and move up to the us part. And hopefully you don't give up before you get to the us part. But in going through that, there's a lot of revelations and a lot of things that you encounter in trying to balance out the you, the me, in order to get to the us part. That understanding, that patience that you pray for daily, being able to listen to your partner and understand their love language so that you can get to that piece that's called us. So I look at that more as a journey for me.
Amazing. There's that word again: process, journey, experience, not an event. Great stuff, sir. All right, my other power couple.
So when I look at the triangle, I kind of focus on what I had alluded to earlier, is that we were as individuals and we brought whatever baggage to the table. But for me personally, one of the reasons I decided to date so long is because I did have children. And I did not want Jamie at the time to feel like, you know, he was responsible for having to raise them. They were at the tip of that platform where they were about to graduate high school. And sometimes the mouths on teenagers really scared me a little bit. So I didn't want them to infringe on, you know, my relationship with him and him being scared away, because he doesn't typically have any children. So that could be a big burden on someone who hasn't. So like I said, when we came together as individuals. So it was taking that time to develop and understand. And like I was saying earlier, how he helped me to realize that I do not have to do this on my own. You know, he's my anchor. And so as we began to develop and learn more about each other and learn about the communication and so many other things, that's when we decided that it was time that we are ready to become us. And the magnificent thing right now is that as we are us, that triangle represents our entire family. And so when I say that we came together, it was a process for everyone developing in our household and, you know, bringing that uniqueness of everyone that was paired up in this us. So a lot of times we, we tend to forget about children and family when you're bringing it, together extended families.
Mhm.
The collaboration is very important,
Elaborate.
family, we love them. He loves the kids. Like he has those conversations. They call him their bonus dad.
Mm.
And those are some of the unique things that they've, came together on their own. It wasn't us pushing them into anything. It's rounded out. It's now us, and it's a beautiful feeling.
Wow. Congratulations, Jamie.
Well, I was raised with my man there up on the screen. He was my teacher and my mentor.
Okay.
So he's the reason I am what I am today.
Wow. Congratulations.
I'm like him, whatever she had going, I was gonna go with it anyway. And I would have waited as long as I had to.
Very supportive. That's another thing about Jamie is that if I have these crazy ideas, oh, let's do this. He's spontaneous. If it's a trip, oh, we haven't went anywhere in the midst of COVID. Okay. So that's the part that I love about him, his spontaneousness. And, he doesn't ask questions, just pack his bag and he's ready to go. And I think that that's important because at this stage of the game, you just want some excitement and, that involvement and just having fun.
Good.
Karen, he got that on his own because this one takes a lot of planning, no spontaneity anywhere. So Jamie, good job. Somebody else.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
Hilarious.
And I know, but it's hilarious because, it's just a matter of saying where we're going. That's all he needs to know. But I know Ron, he's very structured. Yeah.
Good stuff. Mr. Bobo, do you have any questions, comments, observations about what you're seeing and hearing from our couples or what's on the screen?
I just love the dynamic of each individual couple and how they differ in their own ways and they're able to share. And I can hear how you can relate, like, a person, if they have to plan all the time, organize. And I kind of figured that Ron would be the person that has to have notice because he's organized and that goes together. So a spontaneous person is, very free at heart and just like, let's go, let's do it. But they don't necessarily have to be organized. They're like, put the stuff down, let's keep it moving. It doesn't have really areas in the house. No big deal. All right, let's go. I like it.
I like it. Good stuff. All right, so got somebody read what's on the screen and what's the common denominator?
What does it say?
Trust is a must with us.
Oh, okay.
Trust is a must with us. And inside of trust, must, and us is what?
Us.
Right? Inside of that is us. And we have to give each other room, right? We have to give each other room to be who we are, to grow, to evolve, to change. And how many of you have ever heard the term happy wife, happy life? Anybody ever heard that? Happy wife, happy
I don't like that term.
She don't like it, but yeah, we heard
I don't like that term, but yes.
She tries to keep me happy too.
Did you say every now and then? She try to keep you happy every now and then? That's fine. So my wife and I detest that term, right? We detest it. It's so damaging. It's so damaging because what it did, eons ago when that was created, and let's be honest here. For the most part, it caused the males to take a back seat to their own feelings. It caused the males in the relationship to say, you know what? I'm not primary. She is. In fact, I'm probably not even secondary because we have children. So then it's my wife, it's the kids, And the man ends up being tertiary or third, right, in all of it. And so over time, just because something quote unquote worked doesn't make it right. Does that make sense, guys? Like because the thing worked per se doesn't make it right. Now our motto is different. We don't do happy wife, happy life. We do happy spouse, happy house. Okay, happy spouse, happy house, where neither one of us is taking a back seat to the other. We both are primary. We both are important. We both have needs, wants, goals, etc. Now, it sounds very chivalrous. It sounds so romantic. Oh, my husband just puts his coat over the puddle for me, and he opens every door, and he feeds me my food, and he protects me, and he's a provider. And but listen at that, guys. Like listen at it at its core. He, and that he, depending upon his background and upbringing, will never say a thing about it. Now, men cry differently than women. Do we all know that? Yes, no, maybe so. We cry, but not necessarily physical tears. Our cry is on a different wavelength. And unless you are a very keen and astute wife, you may possibly miss out on that cry. And men, let me say that the way that we cry is unhealthy, because we cry in a stuffed manner. We cry in a way where, yeah, we angry, we upset, but we're not really gonna talk about it. Have anybody ever had to ask their man what's wrong like 1,900 times? Like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And he goes, nothing. Then now something ain't right. Something. Look, now I told you ain't nothing wrong. See, now that develops into an argument. So maybe that's okay. Okay. So, I see a few giggles. Feel like, look, I told you ain't nothing wrong. Okay. So then that turns into the argument because we've not learned, and it is a skill set. It is a skill set that has to be learned for men in particular to effectively communicate our feelings, to effectively communicate our wants. Because here's the weird thing about it. In some of us, not all of us, but in some of us, it feels weak in a way. It feels less manly in a way. It feels almost powerless to have to say to your woman, to say to your wife, I want this, I need this. Now, I'm not talking about I'm hungry. We will express that, right? We'll express basic needs. I'm hungry, I'm cold, I'm hot. Can you run my bath water? Yeah, we got that. But we're not gonna really say, I need a hug, I need a kiss, I'm afraid, I'm unsure, I'm not really 100% confident about what I'm doing right now. See, those things are almost a no-no. You guys talk to me real quick. What are your thoughts about what you just heard me say? Anybody?
PJ is the opposite.
Okay.
PJ is very, very much in tune with his feelings and everything that he needs to express to me. And I think that's what's so.
Yeah, well, like for me, like growing up, my family was very, at least like I grew up in a military household.
Okay.
So it was very strict, follow the rules, make sure you're on time. If you have to be early to be on time to be late, all that stuff. And there wasn't really a lot of room for like, oh, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that. Now my family's gotten a lot better over the years. I don't want to not give them credit for that. Mm-hmm. But something I always felt growing up, and I haven't really been able to express that much in past relationships, but now I met somebody that I can. I've been doing a lot. Is I speak my mind. I'm a very passionate person, like I said earlier. But if I'm feeling emotional, or like even like you said, like with tears, I cry because like I'm like, listen, if you can't accept me for this, then I'll go, because like I have to be able to express myself, because it eats you up inside.
Pause for 1 second, PJ. Mm-hmm. Everybody hear that? Remember I said it earlier, your family of origin. See, he was stuffed and stifled and held hostage by that growing up. He couldn't express it. He couldn't say it. It was weak. It was a sign. We don't do that in this house. We don't do that. So that was in him. That was crying to come out. And I also heard him say, if I heard him correctly, he still didn't do it in prior relationships. It's now that he's with Anye, right? It's now that he's with her. Mars lined up with Venus. Does that make sense? It's now with her that he has finally found what I'm going to call a safe place. See, the relationship needs to be a safe place. Would you guys believe that most relationships actually aren't safe? Would y'all believe that? That most people in a relationship are not free to be who they are? They are not free to express themselves. They are not free to go into the utter abyss, right, of their hopes, of their feelings, of their fears, of their wants and their desires. There are people that are married, supposedly love each other, but I can't tell her that. I can't tell him that. They gonna look at me different. She gonna see me different. Guys, and I would pose the question, is that truly a relationship? Is that truly a relationship where I cannot totally 100% be who I am? Angel, Ron, what are your thoughts on what you're hearing so far?
So I was going to say to the other question, I had learned to ask it differently. Not when I would say what's wrong, in his mind, nothing's wrong. So I learned to ask the question differently, to like kind of draw out his feelings, or what triggered you, or how could I have done that differently? Not because he took it, what's wrong is what's wrong with him. That's not what I was, would say. But so what's wrong? No, everything's right. This is out of place or something like that. So I learned how to ask it differently so that he would respond differently.
Love it. We just call that reframing. Does everybody understand? She simply just reframed it. She learned over time that, oh, he's misconstruing this particular word. Oh, it's this one word. Anybody ever had that happen before? Like, it's this one little thing that throws the whole thing off, and that minor little tweak probably saved their relationship. Because if she didn't notice it and she didn't know how to go about it, that could have went completely left. Congratulations to you. Jamie, Karen, what are your thoughts?
Can I just add?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. I'll use the parable of the knight in shining armor, the guy on the white horse that comes in and rescue. And it's a little hard to kind of run in there, and then you get there and you've got all these things you haven't quite thought about. I'm a little insecure about going in there and fighting that battle for you and doing this. So I think for women, at least during the era that I came up in, that was an expectation of a man that you be the white guy. I mean, the guy, knight. I'm sorry, not white, but knight. The knight
shining armor.
Yeah, the knight shining armor to come in and rescue, because many women, their goals, they were looking for someone to help them in a situation, through a situation, or be that kin to their Barbie. So in order to do that, you had to be strong. They like confident men, self-assured men, and you don't sound real self-assured with expressions of doubt.
Okay.
So that kind of learned behavior. And then, I grew up in the 50s and 60s. So men were taught to be men a little bit differently than they probably are right now. Like a lot of the younger boys are a lot more expressive than we were. It's something I had to acquire and learn to do and to do effectively. So it's been a learning experience. She's helped me in that regard by creating a safe place or haven for me to kind of express how I feel. It's okay. Like, for example, back in December, we both caught COVID. Okay. And it was one of the few times when I've expressed to her, I don't feel well. I don't feel good, and really leaning on her and her nurturing nature was that to take care of me. And so when you experience that, it kind of, as a man, it may open up some additional doors as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Amazing. Thank you, sir. Jamie, Karen.
I just love Jamie's vulnerability. He is not that typical man either. He's very warm-hearted, and one of the things that he does not do is hold things back. I mean, even if it's a shot, like he'll tell you, I don't like taking those shots. You know, and he tells the people that are around him the same thing. So I appreciate that because he'll say that this is my thing with Jamie. It's like I can push and push, but when he gets into that deep bass, then I realize, okay, I'm not going to push anymore. So other than that, he is really that kind of person. Like, you know, one time we were in the mall. I shouldn't tell this, but anyways, and he, you know, my bag was so heavy, my purse, and he said, hey, I'll carry it. And I was like, are you sure? And this couple stopped us and said, hey, man, you're taking us back about 100 years. And Jamie said, no, this is my wife. He said, you know, I don't have any problems carrying her bags or purse, whatever. I'm 240-pound all man, and I'm very proud of it. And, you know, just simple things like when you know, he would go to the store, you know, he has no problems going to get, never mind. Anyways, but
y'all get the picture.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that he's still very, you know, he's still very much a man, but he is very open about it.
Yeah.
No matter,
Have you always been that way?
Have you ever always
Have you always been this way?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I always tell his mom, she raised 3 boys, men. And when I say that they carry his personality, they're very involved with their spouse and their family and very dedicated to family. And I say to her, you did an awesome job raising, you know, 3 Black men. And they are all the same way.
And Jamie, what do you get? Because again, I hear Karen singing your accolades. What do you get? What are her accolades? What is it that she does that waves your flag and rings your bell?
Well, I have some health issues, and you know, I have MS.
Okay.
And you know, some days aren't as good as some of the other days, and all the things that I've been through, she's been right there. You know, even like the times where I try to keep, you know, my issues to myself, you know, she'll come in and she'll demand, you know, how I'm feeling, and she's always right there.
Okay.
And the nice thing about that is that, you know, almost brought tears to my eyes. But when we first dated, Jamie was forefront with all his information. He did not hold back. I don't even know if we had been dating for a month. And he disclosed that. Then he had a book for me. It was a manual. You know, this is what it involves. I want you to read it. I want you to understand. And if this isn't something that you don't want, he said, you know, the door is open there. But I want you to understand what it is that you're getting yourself into.
How powerful is that, y'all? Like that?
Extremely powerful.
I mean, you know what? I need another word beside powerful. Powerful is not even a strong enough word.
But what she
said to do that, was what you people need to do that, period. Like, think about what, like, my wife and I, she had been married prior to me, and I had been married 2 or 3 times prior to her. I lost count. But when we got together, literally the very first week, it wasn't that one of us had a physical illness, but we both were sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so we were determined not to play any games. Like literally, like we just laid it all out on the table. It wasn't no 90 days. It wasn't no 6 months. It was like, look, we didn't even know we was going to date. This is how frustrated we were with just the games of life. we didn't know if it was going to be romantic or not. But we know that anytime you spend time with somebody, the potential is there for that to happen. So we said, just in case this happens, let's get this out the way. Here's my list of negotiables and non-negotiables. Here's the things that I have that I'm not budging on, that it's zero understanding. And we like, let's get that out in the fore, because that would determine whether it would be platonic, whether it would be romantic, how far it would go. And I think that was our version of Jamie giving Karen the book. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times, and I love that, and I'm definitely going to give you guys credit, because I promise you I'm going to speak and teach on this, because that is so profound. Because we do that in relationships in the reverse. So what if Jamie would not have revealed that, guys? Think about this. And this happens probably in 8 out of 10 relationships. He doesn't reveal to her that he has this issue. Because with his condition, he has some great days, he has some good days, and he has some not so great days, right? And she could have come along at a time where he's on a string of great days. Does that make sense? So he's not revealing it, he's not saying it. And she does what? That set the foundation. That set her expectation. She didn't know anything but the great days. So when the not so great days come and when the bad days come, that is a complete shock to her system. And it's unfair to the both of them. Now, how many people do that in relationships, period? And it doesn't have to be a sickness like that. It could be anything. It can be an addiction. It can be a like, it can be a displeasure, but we're so busy trying to be this great representative, right? We're trying to be on our best P's and Q's because we like this person and we're interested in this person and we want them to like us back. And so they get the best version of us, which is not the real version of us. Angel, what are you saying? What are you saying, darling?
They get the representative.
No, they get the representative.
But I was going to say what Karen said was what you wrote. Trust is a must. So he just did it in action. Here it is. I'm trusting you with me, with my information, with my heart, with all my issues. And so I must tell you this in order for you to trust me so that we can
be a us.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because you couldn't be a us. You could not truly be an us. Because I've seen people in situations where they are physically sick, like Jamie, and they'll hide it. Like they giving themselves insulin shots in the bathroom. They're keeping their condition away from the other person because they don't, watch this, completely trust that situation. I don't completely trust that you'll be here for me. I don't completely trust that you'll love me in this vulnerable state. And guys, that is so toxic. That is so damaging. Last but certainly not least, as we kind of wrap this thing up a little bit, it is more important. Somebody said these two words earlier. They said like and love, like and love. And in my experience, not only with my own relationship, but the thousands of couples that we've coached, mentored, and worked with, we have found that it is far more important for you to like each other than it is to love.
To love each other. That's right. Like, baby.
Like, what do we mean by that? What do we mean that? Because we always hear love. We always hear, better find somebody to love you. You better find somebody to love you. Let me ask y'all this. How many of y'all have relatives that you love, but you can't stand? You love them. But you also use terms like this. Gotta feed them with a long handle spoon. I love you, but. When you love someone, but don't like them, you will tire of them. And eventually that love will wane. That love will fade. But if I like you, if we're friends, how many of y'all would be honest and say love comes and goes? Let's just be honest. People don't want to say that. They don't want to admit that. Love comes and goes. You don't love each other the same every day. That's virtually impossible.
That's right.
But when you like each other, even on the days I don't love you, I still like you. I'm still gonna be in this thing for 31 years. You can't be together 31 years, don't like each other. I don't care what nobody says.
Well, and I'm saying the same thing, but just a little different. That in love feeling, that euphoric feeling comes and goes. But I think the love is the solid thing there. And but I also like him.
Right, I got you. But everyday people don't go that deep. Everyday people that say love, no, seriously, everyday people that say love, they talking about that euphoric feeling. Yeah. And typically, even when everyday people use it, they not actually talking about love, they talking about lust. Let's just be honest.
Right.
They, exactly. They don't get to the LO, they at the LU, right? We're still at the lust.
Because I think you fall in lust and then you learn how to love. And you learn how to love because you like the person. I like his corny jokes. I like his bald head. I like that he's so organized, even though it drives me crazy sometimes.
But I like it. But I like it. Yo, my wife and I do that to each other all the time. It's so funny. We laugh because of how you just ran down that little list. You know, we do that to each other. Like, you know what? I like your big head. I just like your big head. And my wife, I like your little peanut head. Like, because that's the key. We know that's the key. That's the foundation to like. Because love gonna take care of itself. Love gonna take care of itself. And listen, last thing, and I'll turn it over to you guys because we got about 10 more minutes. I want to make sure I give you guys time to talk. Everything that you want, everything that you desire is going to take WORK. And it's going to take that every single day. If you have a warm plate of food and you leave that warm plate of food out, what eventually happens to it?
Cold.
It'll get cold.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you leave your hot tea out, your hot coffee? What will happen to it?
It's cold.
Oh, what will happen if you leave your cold glass of iced tea out, though?
Get warm.
It'll get warm. Is this making sense to everybody? See, things in their natural state typically aren't what we want.
Right.
So when we bring them out of their natural state, we have to work at it. We have to continue to put the ice in the iced tea. We have to continue to warm that food. We got to put it under a heat lamp. We got to put it in the microwave. We got to put it in the oven. Does that make sense? We have to do something to do that. And in your relationships, it's a constant process of work. That work doesn't have to be tedious. It don't have to be you a Hebrew slave making brick without straw. That is not what we're saying at all. But we are saying don't ever get so comfortable that you believe your relationship will take care of itself, because it absolutely will not. Does anybody have any questions, comments, observations about
Doc, before you talk over to them, I want to add to what you just stated. Thinking about the life cycle as we look from one season to the next. Things change, things wither away, then it comes back and blossom. The flowers have to be planted, they have to be watered. Same thing with your relationships and anything that you want. You're going to have to work at it. The grass is not going to cut itself. You got to get out there and cut the grass over and over again to get a certain look. You have to get the weeds, pull them weeds out. And that's what we got to do with the things that we want every single day. Back over to you.
Excellent point. And this is for my couples as you guys are gathering your thoughts about your questions, comments, or observations. My wife said that you got to cut that grass every week or cut that grass every 2 weeks. I'm not looking for a really deep answer, just a simple one. Why do you have to cut the grass every week or every 2 weeks? What's the simple answer? Why does it have to be cut every week or every 2 weeks?
Maintenance.
Get too long.
Mm-hmm.
Maintenance.
So, right, watch this. Absolutely. And because we only cut the top of the grass, we don't ever address the root of the grass. So if you were to go out there and pull that patch of grass up by the root, you ain't got to cut that next week, do you? Because it's gone. It was snatched up by the what? Root. Or if you were to pour some oil or some type of poison in that particular area of grass. It would die because it got cut at the root. In your relationship, it's the same thing. Don't keep cutting the grass of the relationship. That's why the problems keep growing back. We've got to address the roots of what's going on in our relationships. Over to our beautiful, illustrious couples. Questions, comments, observations about anything that you've seen or heard on tonight. Let's keep it to about 2 minutes, and I think that'll keep us on time. Who wants to go first?
I'll go because we just celebrated our anniversary and people always say, well, how did you do it? 31 years? I'm like, yeah, I never cut him. I thought about it, but I never did it. But it's work, but it's worth it.
Mm.
And I'll, do different, there's so many different scenarios you can use. You go to work, you get a check, makes it worth it. You have a career, you have a business, it makes it worth it. Anything you want to see grow, you water it.
Boom.
And my water don't look like Jamie's or Anya's, what my husband needs totally different from someone else because the two of us have totally different dynamics. So we work this house, you work yours.
Boom. Talk to me, Ron.
I totally agree. It's been, I think the biggest thing, because, we both were married before, was seeing the journey through, and sometimes it takes a number of years and adjustment. And I found that as I got older, understanding what commitment means. I think when we all got married, you hear the vows, but you don't really understand the vows that you're taking, because now that we're older, we understand what sickness and health means, rich or poor. We understand what all that means, and that we sit sometimes and think, gee, I bought into this, I signed up for that, and it hits you, and it's whoa, this is a really deep type of thing that we're into. And so when she does weddings, one of the things she tries to get the couples to understand, especially during the counseling phase, is for them to understand the commitment that you're getting into, what you're offering up, what you're signing in for. When you go to buy something, you can't, you can return it. And we've been kind of doing that with marriage through divorce. But in this arrangement, it's a little bit harder to do without there being so many more consequences.
Absolutely. Wow, great stuff. Great stuff. Let's jump over to our millennial couple.
I guess I just want to say, PJ, it has always been so upfront about a lot of things, even similar to, Jamie and Karen. Like, he was everything was on the table. Even him expressing like his autism and dealing with Asperger's, and me being a Black queer woman. And there's so much trust, like you said, so much trust and honesty in this relationship. I think the lies of past things and the mask that you wear, because like you said, you're always trying to be your best representative. Once those masks were let down, I think there's a vulnerability that happens that, to me, I feel like, listen, I'm always in love with this man. That's why my friends hate me so much. I sing his praises all the time because he truly does feel like my equal, my soulmate. And of course, like you said, there's good and bad, but most of the time, it's because we're dealing with our own thing and we're like, how can I help you through what you're going through? Like, how can I assist you better? And I feel like that's one thing we're learning in marriage too. Like you said, it's work. Every day I have to choose you. Every day I have to choose to do better and be better than I was yesterday. How can I know me, when I get in two, we both get in twos. We like to say we get in twos. If we're in a tube, we know how to deal with each other when we're in our tubes, And yeah, I love him.
Wow. Y'all gonna kiss on camera. Let him give him a little sugar. Give him a little sugar. There you go. A little sugar right there. All right. Talk to me, PJ.
She took all the good words, so now I gotta filter through the rest. But this has just been such an incredible journey. A lot of people told us that we were rushing and that it was too early for us to get married because we just kind of knew, and like we told our friends and our
On our first
family.
date, we knew.
Yeah, we just kind of knew it was gonna be for the long haul. Like I said I love you on our second date, I think, and then
Well, technically it was our first date, but yes, the first real date, but second date.
I can't really
Yeah.
but but the long story short, you know, we're learning a lot as we go. And especially being a newer couple and young and trying to work our way through this and navigating everything. We've been living together for 3 years now.
Right.
That
It's
was
real.
one of the big things for us. We actually wanted to live together first before marriage because we wanted to. I wanted to see her. I was like, listen, like I
Yeah.
kind of know that I want to marry you, but I also want to see what you're like.
I
Yeah.
need to,
Outside
I
of
need
that.
to look under the hood.
Yeah.
You see what's going
I
on?
see the Lamborghini shell.
Yes,
Look at
yes.
it. It might be a Toyota
Yes.
Tercel engine up
Yes.
under this Lamborghini shell.
And even then too, I feel like, and I don't want to talk for a long time and I don't want to cut you off, but even at the time that I met PJ, he just had a really bad car accident. And he was dealing with a lot of like, you know, just physical ailments. And I helping him and seeing him throughout that, like, that's real.
That is definitely real. Congratulations. All right, let me jump over to the smooth. 60 seconds. Y'all go.
60 seconds. Let me talk fast.
Per person.
You know, as a couple that I said we married in, you know, up in age, there are things that you bring to the table, which we've all discussed. But one of the things that we embraced is we did go to marriage counseling for 6 weeks. The process was for 6 weeks. So we learned about finances. We learned about, you know, those quirks. We learned about communication. There were subject matters every single week. And it was beautiful because the couples that was hosting, like yourself, you know, shared their most vulnerable times. So it really helped us to develop as a couple because I do believe it's important. I know my sister got married. They had one counseling session and thought that was going to, you know, change the world. But what I just want to say is have fun. Jamie and I, we still wrestle. We still, you know, we just do some weird, fun things. And he's very affectionate. So he loves the holding hands and hugging and buying flowers and things like that. And, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I got an office full of cards. Just because he cares, and it doesn't have to be for a specific occasion. So, you know, keep it fresh, like they say. It doesn't have to be one-sided, ladies. Remember, you know, your man is your man, and you want to make sure he's happy as well. So do those same, reciprocate, you know, and that's all I have to say. I know that we are running out of time, and I appreciate you all giving us a platform to be able to talk to everyone.
Brother Jamie.
All I have to say is I knew what I was doing the whole time. I got it right. And
Wow. Say that one more time.
knew what I was doing the whole time and I got it right.
Wow. He knew what he was doing the whole time. The whole time. Absolutely amazing. Man, y'all are all of you are so motivational, so inspirational, so encouraging. There are people texting me. It's so funny. They're watching this on Facebook live, and they're texting me. People are going, wow, this is amazing. They're amazing. And so I told you guys at the beginning of the show that you're going to impact people's lives. So you share your story, you share your hope, you share your strength, and you share your experience. Not just the good times, not just the happy times, because that is a facade that's fake, and we're setting other people up for failure when we do that. They need to know the good, the bad, the ugly of this thing so that they can make a right decision for themselves. And last but certainly not least, I think it was Angel who said it so eloquently. And I say this, I'll say it to the day that I die. Your relationship is your relationship. Some people need counseling, others don't. It don't mean that couple was weak. No, that means that's their thing. They needed counseling. Other people needed to get married in the forest. Somebody else needed 200 people at their wedding. Somebody else needed a courthouse. Guys, listen, it is so diverse just right here on this platform. I've never heard of a Zoom wedding until today. Now, my grandparents, probably my parents, would say that's insane, would say that's asinine. Seriously, because what? They don't know about that. That's not their era. So my parents wouldn't be a good role model for Anya and PJ. Does that make sense? Not because my parents' relationship doesn't work. It's their working relationship that's working, which is totally different from theirs. So everybody keep growing, keep exploring, right? Keep trying new things. Don't get locked into the old way of doing things. And always, always, always give each other permission to go and grow. Never hold your spouse hostage to their old ways, even if it's a way you love. Even I love that he used to give me flowers. Well, he don't do it no more. You gotta allow him or her to grow. Guys, remember, everything that you heard and saw on tonight is simply from our point of view.